What's going on, boys and girls? I thought I'd jump on and do a little recap of the midweek Olympiacos game and then look to kind of focus in on this weekend's match at home to West Ham in the Premier League. So, the Champions League match, I think we started really well. I think that first kind of 15-20 minutes was some of the best football we've played so far this season. I thought we looked really slick, free-flowing football. I thought Odegaard in particular looked really strong the whole way through the match, which is really encouraging because we really need him to find his form again. So that was really encouraging. We got that Martinelli goal in kind of the 12th or 13th minute, and I honestly thought we were going to probably end up running out with a comfortable kind of 3-4-0 type of scoreline. But then the match kind of just seemed to take a bit of a turn. It got a bit kind of sloppy and disjointed. There were a lot of fouls going on, a lot of players on the floor, and we just kind of seemed to lose our way a little bit, and we just turned what looked like being a pretty straightforward, easy win into what was essentially a bit of a, I wouldn't say scary situation, because I didn't particularly ever feel like Olympiacos were going to score. I know they had the offside goal and Raya made an unbelievable save in the first half, but I never was sitting there going, oh my God, Olympiacos is going to score any minute. It wasn't anything like that, but I didn't like the fact that we left it so late to get that second goal. Way too many missed chances and missed opportunities in that match for me. We definitely still have an issue when it comes to being clinical. We are creating more chances, but we're just not putting the ball in the net as kind of clinically as I would want. And I think in that game particularly, by half time we should have been minimum 2-3-0 up. So I think as we start to play the better teams, that situation will become more of an issue. So against the lesser teams like Olympiacos, you can probably get away with it. But as we move through that competition and start to play more dangerous teams, we will have to find a way to be more clinical. But at the end of the day, you can't really argue with it. Another clean sheet, 6 out of 6 points in the Champions League, looking good. The fact that we've got options now to actually rotate the squad is just such a refreshing position to be in if you think about the last few seasons. Despite the injuries that we still have to a number of players, the fact that we've still got options around Ben White, Timber, Mosquera, Saliba, Luis Skelly, Calafiori, Marino, Eze, Odegaard, Nwaneri, Trossard, there's options now for Arteta to kind of pick from, which means that we're not driving all of the players into the ground week in, week out. And when the game's not quite going to plan, we have the ability to kind of bring players on to change it up. And they're actually of a level now where they can in fact do that. So yeah, I'm feeling really good all in all about where we're at right now. It's just about continuing to deliver on that promise, in my opinion. And I guess that bleeds into the weekend and the Premier League action. For me, this is an opportunity to apply some real early pressure to Liverpool. They're playing after us away to Chelsea, which I think will be a bit of a tricky match for them. But at home to West Ham, yes, new manager bounce, all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, Arsenal at home to West Ham should be a win. And I think we've lost the last 2 matches to West Ham at home, which is crazy when you think about it. But right now, this has to be a win. There is no other result that will be acceptable. So I think Nuno will come in with his typical kind of deep-lying tactics, trying to catch people on the break, and that will be the way that West Ham set up. And so we really need to be kind of, we need to be aware of that. We need to play smart, but I want to see us be brave, continue to be more direct and more free-flowing. I think the football has improved in the last 2 matches, all in all. So I would like us to kind of continue playing without the handbrake. I think in terms of who starts for this game, look, it's good problems to have, right? I think Ben White did an okay job against Olympiacos, but I've been thinking about this quite a lot with Ben White recently, and I think Ben White might actually be sold in the summer. I think when you look at the money that Arsenal have spent in this transfer window and the lack of money they've received in terms of player sales, I feel like Ben White is one of those players who will generate a decent fee for us. But I just think the reality is Timber is the better option at right back. Look, Ben White's been unfortunate in the sense that he's had a lot of injuries and he just hasn't quite been able to kind of find his feet again from those injuries. And every time you think he's back, he kind of disappears again for another week or two. And he's just had a lot of interruptions to his footballing season and a half. And I'm just not sure whether he will get his spot back because Timber is just literally a machine. And I think with the addition of Mosquera now, who can also kind of play on the right-hand side, I feel like the club might see White as a opportunity to make some decent money. I hope I'm wrong because I really like Ben White. I think there's a really good player there and he was exceptional for us in those first few seasons. So it would be a shame to see him leave, but I just feel right now he's just not at the same level as Timber, and I don't see how he gets back in the side on a consistent basis. So I think Timber will start. I think in central defence, it'll be Saliba and Gabriel again. I think on the left-hand side, look, I thought Lewis Skelly played really well against Olympiacos midweek, but it does seem that Arteta seems to prefer Calafiori at the moment, and I think because Cala didn't play on the during the week, I think he will slot back in at left-back. I think it'll be Zubimendi, I think it'll be Rice, and I think it'll be Odegaard. I think Odegaard has looked really, really good since his little cameo against Newcastle, and I think we have to give him another opportunity to continue this kind of run of form he's on. So I think it'll be a midfield of Zubi, Rice, and Odegaard, and then for me, Eze has to be on the field, has to start this game. So I put him on the left. On the right-hand side, Saka, and then up front, Gyökeres. Trossard's had a few games in a row now. I think he's done okay, but I don't think he's, kind of lit the place up. He missed some, in my opinion, against Olympiacos, he was really wasteful with a few opportunities and a few situations that I didn't like. So I don't think Trossard should be starting this game. And I think Martinelli at the moment, I think his role is more of the off-the-bench role, which I think suits him at the moment. So I want to see a front three of Eze on the left, kind of cutting in and kind of playing that second 10 role with Odegaard, given that we're going to have most of the ball. Let Saka kind of do his thing on the right. And yeah, Gyökeres up front. I think with Gyökeres, I've really liked his last few performances. I know he hasn't got goals, but I think his link-up play has looked a lot better. I think his general match sharpness looks to be improving day by day. His hold-up play is good. He works his ass off, and I still just don't think we're quite playing to his strengths. I think against Olympiacos, we were getting a few quicker balls into him to kind of run onto, which was looking promising. But I still think we need to be creating more chances for him, because I think if we create proper chances, he'll bury them almost every time. So it'd be great to see him get on the score sheet this week. I think he needs it and deserves it. And I'm going to go with, Nuno always sets up a difficult side to break down, and we don't particularly do exceptionally well against low blocks. So I think if we get an early goal, I think we run out and win this quite comfortably. So maybe like a 3-1. I think if it takes us a while to get a goal, then it might be more of a kind of 1-0, maybe a late second to make it 2-0. Do I think West Ham will score? I don't know. I feel like with West Ham, it's kind of Bowen or bust. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3-1 win. I think it should be comfortable. I want us to do a professional job. I want us to put ourselves in a position where we can maybe be doing some early substitutes and kind of giving some players some game time. I think Nwaneri really is deserving of some minutes. It was a shame to not see him get any against Olympiacos. So I'd love for him to get a kind of 20-30 minute cameo at some stage. And just continue this good run of winning games, keeping clean sheets, and kind of being able to rotate players. So yeah, hoping for a really positive win, and then hoping that following a good win against West Ham, we can kind of count on Chelsea maybe doing a job and squeezing a draw or a win out of what looks to be a little bit of an off Liverpool at the moment. So fingers crossed for another great weekend of football, and I will be back on here to kind of break down the game against West Ham towards the end of the weekend or early next. All right, guys, I'll love you and leave you. Have a great weekend. Bye.